Join us tonight. We're going to start this workshop. So welcome everyone. And welcome to the new counselors that are here. This is very exciting. Okay, so we're going to go over the agenda and then we have a couple of discussion items. So for this evening, since we're going straight into our council meeting, as soon as this workshop is over, who will do the prayer? Anyone can volunteer. Don't all volunteer at once. Jim? Did I see you?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. Counselor Miller has the prayer. Who would like to do the pledge? Thank you, Counselor Barber. Dan, if you would do the roll call, that would be great.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, and then when we get into the council meeting, I'll just ask for you guys to look over the minutes from both the last council meeting of the last council and mayor, and then also the organizational meeting. So just look those over and we'll be prepared to vote on those. So now we'll move into the items we have on our consent agenda. We have appoint Alan Taylor to the Utilities Board, succeeding the late Eddie Seal with a term ending December 1st, 2026. Appoint Clint Smith to the Planning and Zoning Commission, succeeding member Brian Jackson with term ending June 11th, 2030. Appoint Owen Trotter to the Industrial Development Authority, succeeding member Kimberly Farr with a term ending July 14th, 2029. Accept the resignation of Rob Langford from the Veterans Committee and appoint Brian, is it Healy?
Yes.
Brian Healy, okay, to the Veterans Committee, succeeding Rob Langford with a term ending May 1st, 2028. Any discussion or questions about the consent agenda?
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to move to pull the item appoint Alan Taylor to the Utilities Board, succeeding the late Eddie Seal with a term ending December 1st, 2026 for separate consideration.
Consideration on the regular agenda as an item?
Yes, ma'am.
Does anyone have any heartburn with that? Other counselors is who I'm asking. Okay, I'm fine with that.
And Madam President, I move to pull the item to appoint Clint Smith to the Planning and Zoning Commission, succeeding member Brian Jackson with term ending June 11th, 2030. Also moving that to the regular agenda.
Okay, does anybody have if I can ask, is there a reason? Only because
Sure.
we will get to discuss all of these, even if they're on consent agenda, we can still have a discussion about it if there's something you have a question on. But I have no problem moving it if no one else has a problem moving it. But if you have any other anything else that you'd like to talk about, this workshop is now a good time to do that.
Yeah, I just think that both deserve a little bit more consideration. These are two of our most important boards that we appoint folks to, and I just think that instead of having it on the consent, have it under the regular.
Yes or no vote?
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
Sure. I have no problem with that unless anyone else does. Okay. Sounds good. Now we'll go to the regular agenda and take a look at the items we have here. I'll do the public hearing regarding the proposed rezoning, and then we have the ordinance to rezone 421 Alabama Boulevard to RG, garden residential from R6, mobile home residential. Who would like to take ordinance 2025-035-PZ?
Council President, I'll be happy to take that one.
Thank you. Councilor Jackson, appreciate it. Then we have the ordinance to declare certain city property surplus and convey it to First Baptist Church of Trussville for consideration. It says for a consideration, but yeah. And that is 2025 ordinance 2025-36-ADM. Who would like to take that?
I'll take that.
Okay, thank you. And just as a reminder, both of these things are ordinances. We'll have to, unless you want them to be first readings, we'll have to call for suspension of the rules and consent on each of those before there's a roll call. Next, we have public hearing regarding a proposed street vacation. Oh, also, I'm sorry, Mayor Short, is there anything you'd like to add on these two things? Or counselors, do y'all have any questions right now? Because again, when I take a When I take a motion and a second to pass something, I will say, is there any discussion? And then we can absolutely discuss in council meeting. But does anybody have any like deeper questions about these things right now? Because that's where we work these out. If you have any concerns or.
Madam President, are you referring to the consent agenda or
Oh,
the other ones?
no, regular agenda, the ordinance, the two ordinances.
I will say, Council President,
Yes, sir.
I will say the ordinance to rezone 421 Alabama Boulevard to RG from R6 is cleaning up some lines. It does come with unanimous consent from planning and zoning. They already have property in the city limits of Trussville. And part of their annexation from the prior council was that they had to come in and rezone it. We would not accept an R6 zone. And so that's why you see that item on this agenda. And then, have you made it to the declare certain city property surplus? yet?
Yes, we've done both.
All right, so what that's referencing is here on this map. It's this piece of land here. And so basically we're conveying that to First Baptist Church so they'll maintain the maintenance. We won't have to send our folks to go mow and maintain that. And eventually I'll come with an ask to the council for this side for the Methodist Church as well. Just during the Loop Road project, we took more than we needed. And so now it's reverting that so we don't have to maintain it. That's the ask.
Thank you. And Councilor Miller, you asked about consent agenda. If you have anything you'd like us to go back, any questions about any of those?
No, Madam President, I'm good with it.
Perfect. Okay. Anyone else? If not, we'll move on. I'll open the public hearing regarding a proposed street vacation, and then who would like to take resolution to vacate a portion of Church Street, resolution 2025-59. Don't all jump in at once.
I'll take that one.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, and how about resolution next we have a resolution to issue the 2025 general obligation school warrants, and that is resolution 2025-60.
I'll take that one, Council President.
Thank you.
Council President.
Yes,
Just providing a little bit more detail on that. So this is a refunding of those warrants. These are school-related warrants. This is procedural. I know that we have a lot of new counselors, so we do have school debt, we have city debt, but all that kind of runs through us. So at the school's request and based off the financial advisor's advice, we are moving toward reissuing those 2025 general obligation warrants as a refunding to get, is it right around $1 million, guys?
Correct.
Get $1 million back, but it doesn't change the length or the payment terms of it. So that's what the ask is for, and that's why we have these gentlemen here as well in support of.
and Mayor, you want to explain why we have to vote on that?
Yeah, so we're voting on that because we issue the debt on behalf of the school. So that's just the way it was set up. When Gene did it back in, what year was that, Gene? 2003 or 4 when you started? Or way back.
Yep. Thank you, Mayor. Any other questions? Okay, great. So Councilor Jackson will take that. Appreciate it. Next, we have the resolution to authorize the filling of certain positions within the city as it relates to retired SROs and fire medics. And this is resolution 2025-61.
Council President, I'll take that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Council President.
Yes, ma'am.
This resolution is related to, it allows the city to hire retired SROs and fire medics. So we can, some of our police officers can retire from the state, and this resolution will allow us to bring them back on a part-time basis. So we're putting retirees, we'll be able to put retired officers at a net savings to the city. They're still certified law enforcement officers, so we don't lose anything on the training side, but they fall under from a part-time basis, and there's a mandatory state cap to not interfere with their state retirement. And that dollar amount this year is right around $52,000, but it's within the state constitution that allows us to hire certain fire medics and SROs. So that's the hope and the intention, is to be able to hire some of our retirees and bring them back with less money, but back into schools to keep our kids safe.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions about that one? Very good. Okay. Next, we have resolution to approve 2026 city holiday schedule, and looks like everyone has one except Councilor Miller. Councilor Miller, would you take the holiday schedule, resolution 2025-62?
Yes, I certainly will. I was just going to ask to take that one.
Okay, perfect. Mine, Okay, and then finally, we have resolution to approve longevity pay to eligible city employees. This is resolution 2025-63, and if I could ask the mayor to please talk to us about that.
Yeah, so longevity pay was a budgeted item and it's been a historic mechanism to reward our employees that have been serving the city for so long. The budgeted cost allocation was $91,000 is what was budgeted. There is an additional roughly $11,000 to $12,000 that we pay from an RSA, and Joseph is in the audience. It is roughly $11,000 some change that we pay, and it's 12.5%. All of the extra things, FICA, RSA, all of that. And then that's also budgeted and allocated within our payroll. So we bumped that number up in expectation for things like this. So that is the ask. We were unable to provide our employees a cost of living adjustment. So my ask is that we maintain the longevity pay to our eligible city employees to reward them. And it is in that budget.
Thank you. And anybody have any questions about this? And then the mayor will also speak during the discussion portion in the middle of council meeting, right after each of these items. He will also add this so that the people in the audience and everyone, the thousands that watch us, can understand more about these items. But if you have any questions now, please, this is the time to ask.
Council President, I move to postpone this item to our next regular council meeting. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, haven't had the opportunity to reach out to a lot of our constituents and make sure that they're as good with this as I am. And I'd like to have that opportunity to do that over the next, I think, couple of weeks.
Council President.
Yes.
I would ask the council to leave this on the agenda, as removing it now would interfere with what has been a long-standing tradition in the city, and it also rewards our employees around the holidays. To remove it now would interfere with that.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Council Miller, I'm going to leave this one on the agenda. So just because I do not want to.
Council President.
Yes, sir.
Just from a procedural standpoint, that Councilor Miller can make that in the form of a motion. If he does not receive a second, then it stays. But if he does receive a second, we are required to remove it. So, Councilor Miller, if you'll make that in the form of a motion, and if you receive a second,
Yes, Council President,
in a vote. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry, it had to be a vote. It's not just
In
a
the council
second.
meeting.
Not
In the
that.
council meeting.
In the council meeting, yeah.
In the council
You
meeting?
would make a motion, and I would recognize your motion, and then if you get a second, then it comes to a vote, and then it's up or down, and then you're right.
Correct. In the meeting.
If there's three of you in the meeting that decide that that's what you'd like to do.
all right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. Next, we will, in the council meeting, we'll have a financial report. There's nothing that he's gonna give us here at the workshop.
Not at the workshop, but Council President, we do, with the removal from those two items on this appointment, Alan Taylor to the Utilities Board and Clint Smith, P&Z, those would then become agenda items on the regular agenda, so I would ask that those be assigned as well.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Okay, who would like to take the utility board appointment? Who is the utility board liaison?
I'll take that.
You can take it.
Councilor Horton. Thank you. And then planning and zoning, Councilor Jackson.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Thank you.
And Mayor Short, if you don't mind, I know you and I have talked about this appointment quite a bit.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind providing a little bit of background to the audience as far as why you're recommending this individual planning and zoning.
Sure, I'll kind of give some background about all of the appointments that you see here tonight. So on the city website, we obtain applications and applicants for these positions and roles. With a social media post early on in the administration, we received, I think, over 30 applications. And so in vetting those, based on the experience, we'll start with Alan Taylor first. And again, I speak to the specific liaisons in relation to those appointments, so that way it's not a surprise. If you are the liaison for the appointment that I'm bringing, I've communicated with you on that. So, Alan Taylor, Utilities Board, there's no one who's been the liaison for Trussville Utilities for years. You're not going to find anybody with more experience that can really fill that role of Eddie. And I will say that it fulfills the end of Eddie's role, which would end on December 1st, 2026. Clint Smith, he is a retired Coast Guard guy. He is also a licensed home builder here in the state of Alabama for Acorn Building. The reason that I feel like Clint is a good balance for not only planning and zoning, but maybe a design review should P&Z appoint him, is that they have built homes that meet the design standards or the desired design standards of the project, and they have also built homes that do not fit the mold. So there is a happy medium and a balance there. So that's why Bill Flint is a good appointment on planning and zoning. So having a licensed home builder would be a benefit to both of us. Owen Trotter for IDA. So this was a request prior to me coming into office, but in reviewing his resume, he works for Dunn Construction, has a lot of experience in that industrial field. And so putting him on IDA just makes sense. And he does come with a recommendation from IDA as well. And then I think Kimberly's worked with him or knows him, right? You know of him, sorry. And then accept the resignation of Rob Langford from the Veterans Committee. There was a conflict associated with his employment with the VA, and so I spoke with Councilor Miller in relation to Brian Healy for the Veterans Committee. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, he was retired Army, right?
I think he's still in the Army.
You're right, yeah, he's reserved in the Army, that's right. But very impressive military resume and business resume on the other.
Yeah, so, I think he's currently a major in the Army.
That's right. So as any appointments that I will bring before this council, they will be vetted, and I will speak with a specific liaison in relation to that. So.
And Mayor, when we do the consent agenda, then that's when you want to offer any discussion? We normally don't discuss on consent agenda.
Not a consent, but those items being removed to the regular agenda, I'll speak. Should it be necessary? And
I just need to assign the longevity pay. Sorry, I did not assign that. So who would like to take the longevity? I'll. Thank you, Councilor. Okay, great. With that, City Clerk, if you don't mind making the changes that we made to the agenda, and I'll add those items down on mine that you don't mind.
Would you like to me to use a recess to reprint agendas?
Please, just because I think, do those get numbers?
They can, and we can call the prospective Taylor appointments to utilities as resolution number 64, and Mr. Smith's planning and zoning is number 65.
Yeah, Council President.
Right. Yes.
If we would break into a 5-minute recess and let the clerk reprint these.
Perfect. Do we want to do that after our discussion items?
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right, we've got several discussion items that we need to go over. The first is proposed 2026 council meeting schedule. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, that is simply telling the public that we are going to remain with the second and fourth Tuesday at 6 o'clock for our council meetings, and Thursdays will be the first and third Thursdays starting at 5:30 for our workshops.
That's correct.
Great. Does anybody have any questions about that? Everybody's received.
Hey, Council President, there are some holidays, and again, this will be published online. There are some holidays that may interfere, but we'll do the broadcast there where we may have merged meetings. I think the city clerk. Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you, Mayor. Spring break week. We'll double up on the Thursday prior to spring break week. Prior the week of Memorial Day, no one wants to meet the day after Memorial Day, so Thursday prior to Memorial Day weekend. And I think Thanksgiving weekend, kind of like what's happening now, Ransom next year.
Thank you, Dan.
And so with that, our next item of discussion is the school board selection process. So just to set the tone for this discussion, this is something that I think has been talked about for a while. In 2020, the previous council, mayor and council set up a process in an answer to the call to kind of standardize the school board selection process. We really didn't have one. It was really different from year to year. And so we came up with the current iteration, which is a group that takes a look at every application that comes in. This is currently what we have. That group is made up of the mayor, the council president, the school board liaison, an HR representative, Mandy, and a board member or the board president from the school board. Did I miss anybody on that?
Yep.
They come and look at every single application that anyone has put in for the school board, and they narrow it down to 3 finalists. And the 3 finalists then, in this past council, we were able to get the names of the 3 finalists, and on our own, each counselor would reach out, ask questions, and basically, the group would decide who they wanted to put forward, and the council could either accept it or deny it. We all talked throughout the election, and were talked to by many of the citizens who would like to see changes to that. I think we've all been over kind of the different, the devil is in the details. So we've been over all the details about the possibilities that we have, but I would like to turn it over to Mayor Short to then talk about what he has brought to us as far as the changes, and let him go over those, and then we will start discussion, and anybody can jump in at any time. Mayor Short.
Thank you, Council President. So at our organizational meeting, I brought you 2 potential resolutions or proclamations, however you want to find that. The first we'll cover is the school board appointment process, but they both go hand in hand, so I think it's important to discuss both of them. And I'll summarize this where I believe we continue to use a committee makeup in order to review and narrow down resumes. And then that would transition to identifying the top 3 who would then go before the council for public interviews at that point. So the makeup is different than what Council President mentioned. The makeup that I suggested was that the mayor, the council president, and the council liaison to the school board. In this case, the president is the school board liaison, so another city councilor, really, so 2 city councilors. A retired educator and a retired administrator. Initially, I put in the documentation read that reside in the city limits of Trussville. That may be a little too restrictive and too complicated. We may run out or not have someone willing to participate, so I would ask that residency requirement be dropped, but maintaining a retired educator and retired administrator as that makeup of 5. They would still have HR available to them, not as a voting member, just as a resource should questions be asked of them. So this committee, and I provided you with Appendix A of the weights. I think everybody has a copy of that, of the weights of what that would look like, and what the rubric, I suppose, would be to guide that committee in their decision-making process. And so again, it does ask for public interviews for those final 3 candidates, but that goes hand in hand with a resolution establishing term limits and specific policies and procedures for reappointments. And so in order to maintain some of the great things that we're doing, and I'll use Ms. Tolbert as an example. She has been serving on our school board for her first term, and she, and I support this wholeheartedly, has requested to serve another term. So in this resolution establishing term limits, it would prohibit or limit anyone to serve more than 2 terms without coming back before the council and going through an interview process again. But if the council should deem that unless there's extenuating circumstances or something that just really, they didn't fit the desire and will based off of their service, they have the ability to deny them that second term. But the important thing is, I don't believe, should someone want to be reappointed to a second term, that they should have to go through the interview process if they've served well. And so that's what this resolution establishes. It does provide for a cooling off period, and they could be reappointed for a 3rd term in certain circumstances. So it does provide a little bit there should we not have volunteers, because again, some boards and committees, we have more volunteers than others, and so we don't want to basically term limit a committee into oblivion. And that's it in summary.
Thank you, Mayor. So with that, I would just say that I know in our organizational meeting, we all decided that we wanted to talk about this at this workshop. We wanted to talk about it at the next workshop. We wanted to make sure that we gave the public plenty of time to read and digest what we're considering. And Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, if you have 2 different proposals, if we approve the one concerning term limits and the stipulations around that, that would actually allow us to spend more time on the actual process if needed. We wouldn't have to push that through in December.
That's correct.
Okay. So, but what would the timeline be that you bring us this? And we'll have this discussion now, we'll have a discussion at the workshop at our next meeting, and then what would your desired timeline be?
I think the intention was when I provided you the framework is that we would discuss it and maybe come to a mutual agreement of what that would look like, so I can modify the framework that I provided and provide that to the general public so they can review it, and that's what the document we would then create. But it's based off of the consensus that we find within the workshop. So I would redraft it, and then after the first of the year, I think is when we would take this item up.
Thank you, Mayor. So I guess I'll start by saying that I appreciate the effort that Mayor Short and all of you put into the ideas that came to the table, and I would support exactly what you proposed with the removal of the residency stipulation. And now I'll open it up for discussion, and please just one at a time, and you can ask or talk amongst yourselves. This is our time to discuss and talk about the pros and cons of whatever you'd like to do if there's something different.
Council President,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
we do remove the resident stipulation, my thought is if we have other, and we have other cities that appoint their council, or I'm sorry, appoint their board. If we're allowing non-residents to be a part of this, I'd like to consider maybe taking another current board member and have them be a part of that selection process. Not on our board, but maybe at Vestavia or a Mountain Brook or somewhere else, if we can find somebody that would be willing to participate. Because they know what's going on on a board. They know the decisions that you're trying to make.
I like that.
It's just
Another school board member from another
school
school.
board member from a
Right.
different school
We
board.
need to keep it, to 5 or to an odd number. You don't, you need.
Right,
so
I would
who you
actually
switch out?
I would actually remove the, you said a retired teacher?
Retired educator, retired administrator.
I think I would remove the retired educator. I think that or administrator, it could be either, but I think that I would remove the educator and put a current board member.
I might think the opposite. I might think you remove the
administrator.
and you
And I think
educator
that it can work either way.
I like the educator and administrator there simply because the perspective of the board member is not that of someone who has taught a class or administrated a school or served as a principal. So I think that perspective is extremely important. And the board in this particular situation is for favor. But I do like the idea of maybe another board member because that gives an executive level board perspective as well. However, we do have to keep it at 5.
It would definitely be difficult to choose between the two. That's
Yeah.
me fumbling over
Well,
those, but.
If I may, I believe, and we could get some clarification on this, but I think that it's different certifications for an educator versus an administrator. I think that that terminology is specific.
Now, keep in mind though that school board members neither administrate nor do they educate. That it's a whole different skill set. So I understand what you're saying as far as bringing a board person in because they are not having input into the day-to-day operations of the school, et cetera.
Madam President, point of clarification. So, just because, I'm a slow tanker, can we separate the two and talk about one and then talk about the other? Because it just, talk about the board reappointment process, right? Where we're talking about the term limits. Can we talk about that one first and then talk about how we're going to do the school board process separate?
Sure.
So it's just, doesn't.
We already started discussing that.
Yeah, not so.
Yeah, we're on this board.
Let's start with that one.
Yeah, we're still on this.
Yeah, so, I mean,
So right now, we're just gonna.
Just school board right now.
Discussing school board.
term limits is a resolution, this is a process, so.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and I apologize, excuse my ignorance for this, but aren't most administrators former teachers or educators?
I would say yes, but let me lean on the professionals.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Moore. I mean,
That's always.
okay.
I've served in a classroom and things like that.
So that
We
helps.
can phone a friend during workshop.
Thank you, sorry, wasn't sure if I could find a friend, would you use that lifeline?
So, Council President, let me ask the question, the remainder of the process is a council interview in public. Do we need 2 counselors in the screening process? Could we replace one of those counselors with the board member that Kim really has proposed?
I think it's a good idea.
That's actually not terrible.
I think we need to, and the one that I proposed to the mayor was that both council members be removed from the process because they're going to have a chance to vote on it anyway. And that frees it up for 2 other citizens within the city. I would also disagree with us having any member on this committee being a person who is not a citizen of Trussville. And the reason why I would recommend that is because you have an appointed school board and then you have an elected school board. And one thing I don't want to do is go down a slippery slope where we have an elected school board. The only way that I can see to prevent that from happening is if we have a process where where our neighbors feel like they're involved in the process. And I think if we brought somebody from outside and allowed them to serve on a board, when we have 29,000 people that could serve on that committee, I think that just usurps the objective that we're going for, or at least that I'm going for.
I respectfully disagree. I think that having the experience from another appointed board, you have the experience of being on an active board. I think that we would be selective in that process as well. I do agree that a one less council person would be ideal, but I respectfully disagree.
Okay, so we've got two different views on that, but again, and I do understand your point of order because that's why it's bleeding into the other, which is we're talking about term limits, and that is the document where we were talking about removing the residency.
Yeah, Council President, I will say, Jim, I did struggle with the residence, like removing the residency requirement, and that was just we may have been prohibiting, specifically with those roles, we may have been prohibiting ourselves, or I'm trying to remove potential bias from the equation. And that's why but I did struggle. That's why the initial draft had resident of Trussville. But I do, Council President, I believe maintaining that school board liaison as the one counselor that's on there would make the most sense. That way you can share some of the things that happened during that resume selection or whatever as they narrow that process down, because the rest of the council is going to need to rely on the information and to ensure that everything was done the way that we expect it to be done.
I think it's important to also consider this is the application screening process and waiting. This is not,
That's to get us to the top 3.
right, to get us top 3, but they're not interviewing the candidate.
Correct. No, they'll never meet them.
So they'll never meet them. It's just looking at resumes, evaluating resumes. So I think that's important perspective to remember.
I appreciate that perspective. I hadn't thought about it that way at all, that perspective. I do, looking at my red inks here, I said to remove both council members. I want to strike that. No, what I actually meant to say was that if of the people, the city councilors serving on the board, that person would not be the council president or the liaison, the school's liaison. So it would be from the other 3.
How come?
Well, I think that again, I always look at everything from perception, and people could perceive it as the president being biased, or in this case, the president is the school's liaison, but they can see the sort of bias there, right? And that would remove all doubt that there's any bias from whatever counselor is sitting. I always, like I've always said, I always approach everything from looking outside in and trying to remove any of the folks that are going to be out there saying, well, there was bias here, when there's no bias, but it's the perception. It's trying to resolve that conflict from the jump.
Council President.
Yes.
Just in my experience, I think there's always going to be accusations of bias no matter what decision that you make. I think when you weigh that, understanding that they will not be interviewing specific candidates, I think having the experience and knowledge of the liaison to the school board far outweighs the potential perception in my mind. I think there's more value having the council liaison to the school board as part of this process rather than out of it.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the perception would be stronger if it was an interview process. This is you're just screening applications and resumes. That's my opinion.
So just to encapsulate kind of what we're talking about, what the notes that I've taken then are, what I hear the majority of you saying, and tell me if I'm wrong, is that the makeup of those who would screen and get us the top three would be the mayor, the school board liaison, a retired educator, a retired administrator, and either a current or former school board member from another school. So do we decide, do we say current? Another appointed.
Madam President, I'd like to amend that list.
Would you like that?
So what I'd like to add is one parent from Cahaba Elementary, one parent from Magnolia Elementary, one parent from Payne Elementary, one from the middle school, and one parent from the high school. I'd also like to add an additional member who has a child with an active individual education program or an IEP. I'd like to have one Trussville resident who's retired and does not currently have children in the school system, and one retired or currently serving educator or school administrator who resides in Trussville but is employed in another Alabama school district.
Counselor Miller, that's a lot of people.
Mhm.
Okay, I will respectfully disagree with that. Anyone else have any?
Sorry,
Counselor Clark. No
President.
worries.
I'm sorry. Sorry, lost for words there. So just from an HR perspective, as we go through resumes and we tend to have, certain people be involved in certain types of roles being sought out. If you start to add too many people, too many opinions, you will never find the right person. There are going to be way too many people that will object to something. And limiting that amount, that number that gets to, and we're still talking about the review process. I mean, we're just looking at potential candidates. You have too many people look over that. That's why they're, like, for instance, there's an HR department where I work. I actually head up, and it goes through 2 people before it goes to the hiring manager for review. Adding that many people would be, for lack of a better word, asinine.
And I just want to say here, it's okay for us to
Yeah.
disagree here. That's not a problem, because what we'll do is we'll take what the
Well,
majority says, we'll give it to the mayor, he'll bring us back.
I would agree with council for having someone who does a lot of employee interviews. We have a panel of 3, and it takes a lot of time for us to agree and to come to a conclusion about a candidate. And also someone who's been through the current process, where, I sat with an interview of 5 individuals, for my school board application. It took a while. So I think having that many people in the interview process is really going to draw it out, and I think you're going to have a difficulty arriving at any decision, even with the weightings we have, is going to be really hard to come to conclusions as far as who the best candidate might be. Also, I think we've got the board is made up of professionals and people who have experience in the school system, administrators and boards, and I think that would be sufficient for what we're looking for.
And one last thing that I'd like to suggest is, and this would be something for Mandy, is redacting the names of the people when they're being reviewed by that panel. And that's to possibly keep that bias from occurring. A lot of times we will, especially when utilizing agency, which obviously we're not doing that, we will have the name removed. And we will look at their qualifications, and if selected, we will receive that name. So if you receive 6 applicants and you're narrowing it down to 3, those names would be presented to you once selected. And that is just an option.
I don't actually have a problem with that, just because I understand what you're saying. You are removing that piece of it, and you're having that group just give you the top 3 on the merit.
I am completely in favor of that, Councilwoman Farr. I think that's a great idea. I think that when we look at how we're interviewing people, even on the government side, they always try to get to that non-bias, but they never remove the name. And the name can provide a lot of bias. So I am completely supportive of that. I would say, however, in response to both you and Councilman Jackson, with respect to your professions, those are private professions. Those are not public professions. If the public that are going and attending our schools are our customers, and they're not only our customers, they're paying the bill for it because we're taking their taxes from them to do it. And so while I would say that they are probably not educators, they certainly are. There's a lot of professionals that live in the city that are smart enough to make these decisions. And going to your point of this being too many people, well, I thought we said we're just screening people here. They're not electing anybody. They're not voting on anybody. They're just screening applicants. And I would hope to say that within our city of 29,000 people, we have enough competent people to be able to screen these applicants. I respectfully disagree with both of you, but I'm happy to accept what the council
So
decides.
what process would you suggest of selecting or
Okay,
not selecting?
that's what I was gonna say. I was like.
Because then you're bringing a
when I
whole
start
nother
thinking
process
about
into
Yep.
that, and I mean, you've got
How do you pick that
how
one
many
parent
kids in our school
over
system, how
anybody
many
else?
parents have actually.
Sure. The way that I think that we could go about it, now this is not the way to go about it because we're trying to come up with the process right now in a meeting. But the way that I would spitball right now going about it is you can set a random computer generator up. You could take applicants from each of the school systems, and then you could put their name in that random generator, and whoever the random generator says gets picked is who gets picked.
Council President.
Yes.
I think we're adding additional complexity when it's not necessary. When ultimately the community gets their ability to ensure that they get what they want because they elected the 5 of you to sit up. And so that is what I no longer have a vote. That is what your role is. It's going to take me a while to get used to that. It's very weird not having a vote. So I again, ultimately, and the council will receive, if they so desire, the names of all of the resumes. They can see all of those. That way, if they feel like something is not right with the 3, there's nothing that would prohibit them from bringing someone else back in to interview should they wish it. So.
And then and again, just for the sake of time, so we are gonna have another discussion. We'll have all the notes, Mayor, we'll send it to
I'll
you.
try.
But the next step then would be the public interview, which would only, as far as I understand it, correct, Mayor, and your proposal would be in front of us. That is not a time for the
There would be no
citizens.
there would be no public engagement, but the way that
Right.
the process would fill out is that we would not take an immediate vote. So there would be time for everyone to talk with their counselors. And I know I'm in the minority over here, and again, don't have a vote, but the name redaction, I feel like there's 3 of you there. I would just encourage you to think about, by not knowing the names, there are very clear biases that exist within the community that may not have our school system's best interests at heart. And by not knowing those names, we could be putting ourselves in a position where they then become a member of our school board. So just food for thought before we bring this up for another round of discussion. I know for the second time, we got to keep going.
No, absolutely. So, hey, thanks, counselors. I appreciate that. And we're going to move to our last item of discussion. And this was asked for by Councilor Miller. It is procedure for public engagement and public meetings.
Just point of clarification, Madam President, are we going to table the discussion on the, what are these called, the term limits?
Oh, we can have additional discussion. Is there anything?
Yeah, term limits was a secondary item. Was there any feedback related to that you would like changed as it relates to the proposal for term limits?
The only thing I have, Mr. Mayor, is that I would like to see this only be for boards that are autonomous to this city. I think that we have enough control over who we appoint to each of the committees, but for the boards that they are completely separate, once we put them on those boards, we're not controlling those boards anymore. I think those should be the only ones that are given term limits, and I think it meets your intent of, the Veterans Committee probably doesn't need to be term limited. Some other beautification probably doesn't need to be term limited. Cemetery, it prevents us from running into that issue and really gets to the heart of it.
I like that suggestion, and I can implement that in the next round. Glad to put it there.
And Mayor, I have a couple of suggestions I'd like to put before you. One on the waivers for resolution. we do have a waiver in there that can be approved to allow, someone to take a role based on the council. And so I'd like to limit that to one term and be granted not to the same person consecutively.
On the waiver. I
On the
got it.
waiver.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I think that'd be something good to have. I'm also thinking, and this may not be with the necessarily with the term limit, and I love to, this, but we have some boards like we discussed with the school board, also planning and zoning, that are very high impact boards, and I think having a good sort of a tiered process as far as how we interview them and how we select them would be something we should consider, especially given we've had such a enormous response from the public in this recent outcry for our request for board positions. I think it'd be good to maybe look at this process a little more comprehensively and think about how we select individuals through that. I do think we need to interview incumbents. I think that would be something we should do just to make sure that all of us are familiar with them, their accomplishments, their challenges, and their commitments. But those are a couple of things that I saw in the term limits and also the process that I'd like for the council to consider as well.
A formal interview process or individual? Because you're always open to do individuals.
Yeah,
you have any problem with the
I
second
think
term
we could-
being automatically?
I mean, obviously some of them will come before us, but I think maybe looking at obviously council, maybe just a panel interview, maybe a couple of people from planning and zoning interview this individual. Maybe for other boards that aren't as impactful, it could be just an application only. But I think it's something we should consider anyway.
That's actually going to be in the mayor's purview since he's able to basically name whoever he would like to whatever board he would like.
Just a recommendation. So
Yeah, I'll consider it, and we'll have further discussion later.
thank you.
And I'll implement the changes that you mentioned, Jim. So,
Mayor Short, I just had one thing, looking at section 6 for implementation.
oh man, you're here. Hold on.
Thank you so much for moving on.
I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure that.
I've lost control of the workshop.
That we are including language for continual sequential service, and not that it's separated terms.
You're going to need to put that in an email.
Drop me an email. Let me put some thought and brain power into that at another time.
So from their first term, just to clarify, from their first term, if we're saying you're serving, your second term, you don't have to interview, and then your third term, I would just like clarification that those terms are sequential. That's
No, I'm tracking with you. Yeah, yeah. I think that's the intention of what this is, but I can work on the language. And I didn't want Massey Stokes billing us yet, so this was me doing it. They'll eventually get their hands on it. So. All right, very good. Let's keep going.
Fantastic. Okay, now we will move to Councilor Miller, procedure for public engagement, public meetings. Over to you.
Yeah, so this is really just gives us the opportunity to do what we already know is happening, right? This is where the workshop is where we make a lot of our not make our decisions, but actually start to think through these decisions and collaborate. And so I'm trying to create an ordinance. This is a resolution, right? What this will do is it'll allow us to open this forum up for participation from the audience instead of just the one that we have for the council meeting. I feel like once we get to the council meeting, we've pretty much made up our mind, and it really doesn't give our citizens enough time to persuade us either way if all they're getting is 2 to 3 minutes persuasion. So that's what that's about.
All right, thank you. I would say, and actually, Mayor, if you give me just a second, I would say that the mayor has actually done a great job in providing like the entire packet to folks in advance, and that actually, I think that gets us. I think that gets us a long way with kind of the transparency that we promised folks when we ran. And they can actually read all of the things. So they have plenty of time to talk to us about any of these items because they can actually go through and read the ordinances and read the amendments and the rezoning, the whole thing. They get everything we get. And as you see, even with just 3 discussion items on the board, because this is important, I can't imagine adding public comment into a workshop where they get public comment before and after, and then would, get all that time that they get that packet. So I respectfully disagree, but for those reasons, just because I think we are doing something new, and there is more information now going out in these packets than have ever been provided before. No, I understand what you're saying.
Madam President, I agree completely with what you're saying, but we also have a certain population within our constituency that are not going to receive these packets because they're not going to go on, they're not on Facebook, right? Or they don't know to come into town or come into here to get the packet. So I don't see the harm in allowing our citizens to give their voice to any things we're going to discuss in the workshop. I'm even better at saying, let them do it in the workshop, and strike what we're doing in the actual council meeting. I think it's okay to have our citizens collaborate with us on the decisions that we're making. I don't think that just because they voted somebody in an election that silences their voice and prevents them from collaborating.
Anyone else thoughts on that?
So I did do a little homework on this, and just read this, so I apologize. So from my understanding, I do obviously value our residents' input, but workshops were created to be working sessions for council and staff to review issues and prepare for formal action, correct? So allowing open public comment at workshops, we risk converting the preparatory discussion, like we're doing right now, into formal deliberation.
Mhm.
And that's creating a procedural and legal complication under open meetings rule. So I highly recommend we don't do that.
Yeah, that was my concern as well.
Well, I would have to say the sentiment that Councilman Miller here is bringing to the table, and I think it has to do with transparency and making sure that the public voted us in and they can trust us. They can trust us that we're going to make the right decisions. That doesn't exclude them just because we would not allow them to participate in our workshop meetings. I don't believe that's excluding them because they have our phone numbers. They have our emails. Any of you can contact us at any time. And so I think that even the population that isn't on Facebook and isn't online, I think that if they really do want to get involved with the city and they care about it, they'll go to City Hall and they'll get our numbers and they'll get our email addresses, or they'll send us a letter. They'll find ways to communicate with us. And I think this council seems to be the most proactive council we've had in 30 years with pushing information out. Whether that's digital, I mean, I'm on the phone almost constantly talking to citizens. Most of them that I'm talking to, they're a lot older than me. So I do think that the message is getting out there. I think the communication is open. And so I would disagree that adding in participation from the audience in the workshop. I think there's plenty of other opportunity. And given that Mayor Short is having these public packets put out a week before the workshop, that gives the citizens plenty of chance to reach out to us and give us your opinion, give us your feedback.
And Council President,
Yes.
the social media will not be the only avenue that this is available. They will be published on the city's website as well. We're working through that now. A lot of changes to the website. You gotta realize we're 3 weeks in and we're going all out, but so they will have another avenue to collect, and those are also going out to the media as well. So they're going to have access just like everybody else. But an alternative, an idea that you may all hate, is that we move to workshop and council meetings on the same dates. I continue to publish this 7 days before, and then we don't have to have our staff take 2 days of their night, and pay overtime for some of them. And then the general public gets the opportunity to have that dialogue within the same day. So, something to consider.
Don't hate it.
Wait, you're saying?
Mayor
So
Short.
you're saying instead of just
I'm saying-
keeping combined meetings as the
norm.
exception, you want it to be the rule?
It accomplishes what Councilor Miller's doing without opening the workshop up to additional dialogue. There's no harm in that, and I think it saves the city money in the long run. And I think our employees would agree with that.
Mr. Mayor, I don't hate it.
I like
I never thought about it that way.
I am gonna need time to think about
She's
it.
gonna-
This is not something that, this is the
All right,
first time
so
I'm doing this, so.
for the sake of time and everyone, I think this is going to be a continuous dialogue. But now that I proposed that, think on it, and we'll talk about it again.
Sounds
Let's keep
great.
it going.
I like it.
Okay, well, thank you, Councilman Miller. All right, I'm gonna close up the workshop. We're gonna take a 5-minute recess, to allow the city clerk to go get us a new agenda, and then we will come back and start our council meeting. Thank you. Our council meeting. If you would please stand, we're gonna have Councilor Miller say the prayer and Councilor Farr say the pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for providing us the opportunity to come here tonight to do what all Americans do, and that is pass laws, ordinances, and decrees on our behalf, on the King's behalf. Please provide us all with the wisdom and the discernment that only you can give us, oh Heavenly Father. All of us up here want to do the best for our city, and we need all the wisdom and discernment you can provide over the next 4 years. I ask you, Heavenly Father, to bless our city and make us continue to be prosperous. In your beautiful name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Madam President.
Here.
President Anderson.
Oh, here.
Councilor Farr.
Here.
Councilor Horton.
Here.
Councilor Jackson.
Here.
And Councilor Miller.
Here.
Thank you. Next, we'll consider the minutes from the October 23rd meeting and agenda, the October 28th regular session, and the November 3rd organizational meeting, and the October 23rd organizational workshop and agenda workshop. If you don't have any questions about the minutes, I will entertain a motion.
Council President, I make a motion to approve the minutes for October 23rd, 28th, and 3rd.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Great, thank you. Next, we'll approve the consent agenda and the regular agenda. On our consent agenda, I'll read again. We have appoint Owen Trotter to the Industrial Development Authority, succeeding member Kimberly Farr with a term ending July 14th, 2029. Accept the resignation of Rob Langford from the Veterans Committee and appoint Brian Healy to the Veterans Committee, succeeding Rob Langford with a term ending May 1st, 2028. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
A motion to approve.
A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And now we will approve our regular agenda. You see here the items that we have on our regular agenda. Do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. All right, next we'll go to public comment. City Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak? Excellent. Okay, well, if you decide you'd like to say something, you will have an opportunity at the end of our regular agenda. So now we'll move into our regular agenda, and I will start by opening up a public hearing regarding a proposed rezoning of 421 Alabama Boulevard into an RG residential garden district. The public hearing is now open. Do I have anyone here to speak for or against? Hearing nothing, I will close the public hearing. And now we have next on our agenda, the ordinance to rezone 421 Alabama Boulevard to RG Garden Residential from R6 Mobile Home Residential. And that is going to be Councilor Jackson.
Council President, I make a motion to suspend the rules for consent.
For 2025.
I'm sorry, for ordinance 2025-03-PZ.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
City Clerk, please call the roll.
For unanimous consent, President Anderson.
Yes.
Councilor Farr.
Yes.
Councilor Horton.
Yes.
Councilor Jackson.
Yes.
And Councilor Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. Now do I have a motion?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance 2025-35-PZ to rezone the property listed from R6 to RG as proposed.
All right, do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mayor, no discussion. All right. City Clerk, please call the roll.
President Anderson.
Yes.
Counselor Farr.
Yes.
Counselor Horton.
Yes.
Counselor Jackson.
Yes.
And Counselor Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance passes. Next, we have an ordinance to declare certain city property surplus and convey it to First Baptist Church of Trussville for consideration. This is ordinance 36-ADM, and it's Counselor Farr.
Council President, I make a motion to suspend the rules to consider ordinance 2025-036 ADM to declare certain city property surplus and convey it to Trussville First Baptist Church.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion second. City Clerk, please call the roll.
President Anderson.
Yes.
Counselor Farr.
Yes.
Counselor Horton.
Yes.
Counselor Jackson.
Yes.
And Counselor Miller.
Abstain.
Thank you. Now, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-036 ADM to declare certain city property surplus and convey it to Trussville First Baptist.
Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a motion and a second. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Anderson.
Yes.
President Anderson, pardon me. Counselor Farr.
Yes.
Counselor Horton.
Yes.
Counselor Jackson.
Yes.
And Counselor Miller.
Abstain.
Okay, thank you. Ordinance passes. Next, I will have a public hearing regarding a proposed street vacation. So I'll open the public hearing. This is the public hearing to vacate a portion of Church Street. Do we have anybody here to speak for or against? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. And next, we have a resolution to vacate a portion of Church Street. This is Resolution 2025-59, and this is Counselor Horton.
Madam President, I move to make a resolution to vacate a portion of Church Street. Resolution 2025-59.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes.
I'm sorry I missed this during the workshop. Where is Church Street actually at? Is that the one that runs behind First Baptist?
JR, you wanna?
It's in between Trussville and the street that runs behind the church. It's that little stem road that comes off right next to that picture.
Okay, so the reason why I abstained in the last one is because I'm a member of First Baptist, so thank you, I just want to make sure. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. No other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution passes. Next, we have the resolution to issue the 2025 general obligation school warrants. This is Resolution 2025-60, and this is Counselor Jackson.
Yes, Council President, I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2025-60 to issue the 2025 general obligation school warrants.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Council President, so this just lets them start that process. They will come back for a final approval to y'all. So Council Rod Cantor and our financial advisor will come in once everything is ready, as long as market conditions don't shift, because that may stop it should market conditions dictate that. So just wanted to let you know, you'll see this again.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? If not, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Resolution passes. Next is a resolution to authorize the filling of certain positions within the city as it relates to retired SROs and paramedics. This is Resolution 2025-61. Counselor Horton.
Council President, this one, I think that this is important. I think it's a good strategic move for the city. I move to approve resolution to authorize filling of certain positions within the city as it relates to the retired SROs and fire medics. 2025, resolution 2025-61.
Thank you. I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this one?
Madam President, I just want to say, this is, I think, a fantastic move that gives us a lot more flexibility within our city to utilize the experience that we've already had and we've already paid for as a city.
Great. Thank you, Councilor Miller. Anyone else? Hearing nothing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a resolution to approve the 2026 city holiday schedule. This is Resolution 2025-62. Councilor Miller.
Yes, Madam President, this resolution just allows us to outline the 2026 holiday schedule for all of the Trussville City government employees. So I move to accept this resolution.
I have a motion to approve the resolution. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a resolution to approve longevity pay to eligible city employees. This is Resolution 2025-63. This is Counselor Farr.
Council President, I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-63, longevity pay for eligible city employees. And I just want to say, I think this is a great idea. It's tradition as well, but since we are unable to provide COLAs this year, to provide our employees with with this longevity pay is our due diligence to make sure that we can retain our employees here.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this item?
Yes, Madam President, I move to postpone this to next scheduled meeting.
I have a motion to postpone this to the next meeting. Do I have a second? Okay, I do not, but there is a current motion and second to approve, so we'll take a vote on that now. I have a motion and a second to approve the longevity pay to eligible city employees. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next, we have a resolution to appoint Alan Taylor to the Utilities Board, succeeding the late Eddie Seal with a term ending December 1st, 2026. This is Resolution 2025-64, and this is going to be Councilor Ford.
Yes, so I move to approve resolution 2026-64 to appoint Alan Taylor to the Utilities Board, specifically succeeding the late Eddie Steele, whose term was to end on December 1st, 2026. Alan Taylor will be finishing the term.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Madam President, I just want to confirm from the city attorney that this will actually end on the 2026, December 1st, 2026.
Yeah.
So I have, Madam
Yes,
President.
yes, Councilor Miller, this term will expire. No. Okay. Any other questions or discussion?
One second.
Yes.
I will say that I'm liaison to the Utilities Board, and spoke to Mayor Short about this, spoke to Mike Street and other members of the board, and they all had a positive recommendation for Alan.
Thank you, Councilor. All right, anyone else? Okay, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. And finally, we have a resolution to appoint Clint Smith to the Planning and Zoning Commission, succeeding member Brian Jackson with a term ending June 11th, 2030. This is Resolution 2025-65. Councilor Jackson.
Thank you, Council President. I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2025-65 to Smith Planning and Zoning with a term ending June 11th, 2030.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
A motion, a second. Any discussion? Comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Resolution passes. Thank you. Next up, we'll have a financial report from Finance Director Joseph Calvert.
Council President.
Yes, Mayor.
So this is going to be a new addition to our meetings. This will be at the second meeting of the month. This won't be every time. This first one, we're learning as we go, and we're kind of in between the financial reports that are actually going to hit your box. Your detailed reports are going to hit your box next week. We're going to try to get this on the right cycle. So with that, Joseph, I'll turn it over to you. This one will be high level, and we'll get more detailed as we go. Once those hit your box, you're welcome to schedule time with Joseph or myself for one-on-ones. I'm sure we'll, like I said, dive deeper as we learn more.
Well, we'll just dive right in. So for the month of October, we recorded a loss of right under $965,000. This is due to seasonal timing, right? As we await a big influx of revenue with sales tax from holiday retail season, ad valorem, and business license renewals. So to kind of put this into a little bit of perspective, I do want to show you, highlight 2023 and 2024 October results. So as you see here, in 2023, we had a loss of 1.5 million at the end of the month. And in 2024 October, we had 1.5. And if you want to dig a little bit into the 1.5 number, we had 2 instances of one-time revenue that equaled about $600,000. So if you want to put those into the equation, we're really looking at about a $2.1 million loss in October of 2024. So here's your snapshot of October 2025. There's your $964,000 loss. I will include a projection. We're still on track to hit the $1 million surplus at the end of the year. So I will have that in your boxes as well. As I noted before, projected revenue, right? As you can see, October through December were pretty flat. There's a little uptick in November and December as a little bit of ad valorem money comes in. But as you see, we're really projecting revenues to be about $8.4 million at the end of January. So really hoping to get that push coming in. And that'll true up this $900,000 loss that you see here. And just one little quick snippet on sales tax revenue. During the budget process, we really wanted to hit home that we're not forecasting any growth in sales tax. So as you can see here, this holds $2.4 million, which is October actual, 2.5 million of 2026 October actual, and this is our budgeted 2.4. So some good optimism leading into the next couple months as we are already anticipating some increase in revenue. So we showed basically a $71,000 over budget there, total revenues.
In the green, not over.
Well,
Yeah.
technically,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
This is
So we're being very, very conservative.
Yeah, so we're very conservative in
Very
budgeted
conservative.
sales tax revenue.
No growth
right
projected.
And I will point out, October is when a lot, I mean, that's the new budget. This is where the heaviest spending is. This is where most of our contracts hit in this cycle. And so the fact that we're not at 1.5 or 2.1, and we're under a 1, is a testament to really what our department heads and everybody are doing. So thank you all.
That's all. And if you have any questions, you can come by my office and see me.
And moving forward, Joseph knows these will get far more detailed once we put the packets and the financials on the right side. So.
And all this is available online for folks, or they can ask for them anytime they want, correct?
Correct.
Any questions before you go? Anyone?
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Joseph.
Okay. Now we will go into council and mayor reports. First up, we have council report, who has tree commission, utilities, public safety, and design review.
Thank you, Council President. So Tree Commission, unfortunately, we had to remove 4 trees from the Cahaba project on Parkway Drive. We just had some rot hollowing out the trees, and so we decided it would be safer to remove those. For every tree that we removed, we planted a tree right behind it. And so we've also come up with a staggered growth plan, because all of those trees were planted at almost the same time. So they're all starting to get old at the same time. And so we're trying to mitigate that by coming up with a staggered growth plan and be able to preserve our canopy in the Cahaba project. That's it for Tree Commission. For utilities, enjoyed my first meeting with them. There is a lot to learn about Trussville Gas and Water. It's a lot deeper than most people think. One exciting thing is the chamber will be moving into the space that's owned by the Utilities Board. And the Utilities Board is working with the chamber to make sure that space is good for them. And I will say one thing, interesting piece of information is that residents might not know, is that most of the gas burned in Trussville is actually produced in Alabama in the western central part of the state, so around Tuscaloosa. So the gas that we're burning is produced underground in Tuscaloosa, so it's interesting. And then as far as the Jefferson County sewage, we're still working on the mechanics for coordinating the water shutoffs for unpaid Jefferson County sewer bills. So that's it for utilities. Design review, Arby's on Chocolate Mountain Road is getting a facelift, so they're in the process of discussing that now. And for public safety, we're in between public safety meetings. Last meeting was October 17th, and the next will be January 15th. I'll update you then.
Thank you, Councilor Horton. Next, we have Councilor Jackson, who has finance, active transportation, planning and zoning, inspections, and downtown redevelopment.
All right, thank you, Council President. We did have our planning and zoning meeting last week. We are continuing to make progress on updating our subdivision regulations. That's one of the main initiatives we have going. Also, the Cahaba historical overlay. Those are two big things that we're working right now and continue to make progress, and hopefully we'll have that before the council soon. For active transportation, as many of you know, they are in the middle of a comprehensive planning phase, a feasibility study. They're about halfway through that, so we have seen some glimpses of what that could look like. It is very exciting, what can come out of that plan, and I think it's going to be great things for Trussville. For Redevelopment Authority, as many of you know, if you've driven downtown, you've seen some lights up, but just a great initiative going there with sort of Let's Glow Trussville. But it's a holiday lighting initiative. Thank you, Mayor Short, for putting it on social media. We've had, it's a great collaboration between our local business, our chamber, Leadership HT, and now even the HTHS Electrical Academy to provide lights to the downtown. Demand has exceeded supply, so it is. I think it took off got a little more response than we expected, and we're trying to meet that demand. But exciting to see the city lit up for the holiday season. I think it's going really good downtown. That's my update. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you so much. And next we have Councilor Miller, who has Veterans, ACTA, Historical, and Senior Citizens.
Thank you, Council President. We actually have one of our members from the Veterans Committee here tonight. I'd like to go ahead and ask Mr. Griscom, John Griscom, to stand up and just give us a report on the veterans.
Thank you. We're getting reorganized. The next project we'll be involved in is 4 weeks from Saturday. We'll be laying wreaths on the veterans' graves in Trussville cemeteries. So that's on the 13th of December. So look forward to having everybody there that can make it.
All right, thank you so much. As far as ACT is concerned, Beetlejuice, the attendance was 640 for 7 shows. They raised some money there. And then Trust Vegas Christmas, get your tickets now because they're going fast. Sunday, December the 14th is already sold out. So there'll be 8 shows for a Trust Vegas Christmas. And then Big Fish, they're right now looking for a cast of 30, and they'll be rehearsing at the FBC Trussville. Then for Historical Board, I'm waiting on the meeting time for that one, and Cedar Citizens met yesterday. It was a great meeting, and I'm just waiting on the report from that. Madam President.
Okay, thank you so much, Councilor Miller. Next, we have Councilor Farr, who has Library, IDA, Parks and Recreation, Chamber, and Public Works.
Thank you, Council President. We are actually in the, we have a meeting with the Library Board next week, but Katie has a very important announcement. So Katie, if you'll let everybody know.
Okay, I'm gonna have something before it, but the exciting news is this month we started serving Legacy Ridge and Peachtree assisted living and independent living facilities through the bookmobile, and so that has been received really well. Signed up a lot of people for library cards. It's been great. If you haven't had a chance to see the bookmobile, we will be at the tree lighting, so come see us. We'll have a craft. The exciting news is that Santa's coming, y'all. So he will be in the library on December 1st from 5 to 7. And then also for those of you who like more of the storytelling vibe for Christmas, Dolores Hydock will be joining us on December 10th at 11 o'clock. She will be doing the Truman Capote A Christmas Memory. It's a fan favorite. Hope to see y'all there.
Thank you, Katie. We are in between meetings with the IDA, but I will let you guys know that thank you, Justin, from Public Works for removing our old sign. The industrial park has started to erect the new sign. So if you drive down Highway 11 by the industrial park, you'll see the new signage. It looks Awesome. Let's see, Parks and Rec. So, David Vinson is here with us, and he is retiring. So, thank you so much for your 30 years of service. Congratulations on your retirement. A couple more things to note. The Parks and Rec department is currently dealing with some internal conflicts with the lacrosse organization. So TPR has decided to table the issue until they gather more information, and we are going to be meeting again on Monday, the 24th of November. The chamber, it's a busy time of year for the chamber. So several things, but I want to start with the chamber is currently taking nominations for the Ned and Goldie Payne Gatekeeper of the Year Award. You can find them online at the chamber website, and the Gatekeeper Award will be announced at Toast of the Town on January 22nd at Ferris from 5:30 to 7:30. It's a great event, so much fun. So looking forward to that. The tree lighting ceremony is going to be on November 30th from 4 to 6. The parade will be on 12/13 at 2 p.m. If it rains, it will be postponed until the next day at the same time. So that would be the 14th at 2 p.m. if it rains. And it's the greatest gift is the theme this year, right? The greatest gift. Thank you for being here tonight, Heather. Appreciate it. We have new board a new board president, vice president, and treasurer. So the new board president is Sandra Vernon, VP is Virginia Morris, and treasurer Laura Williams. So we're very excited to have them. And let's see, last but not least is Public Works. Public Works is always busy, so thank you for everything you guys do. Specifically for me was removing that sign at the industrial park. We're really glad to have that done. Just the normal patching of potholes and all of that are the usual, but thank you for everything that you do. We really appreciate it. So that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you, Councilor Parr. And I'm next, and I have Finance, Cemetery, Beautification, BOE, and Leadership Trussville. So I have to say, thank you. Oh, Dr. Martin was here. And I looked up now. Dr. Ward is here from our school board president. Thank you for being here, Dr. Ward. I have to say, the schools are knocking it out of the park. Absolutely knocking it out of the park. And first, I'll mention the Hewitt girls volleyball team under Coach Andy Friedman. They went 30-12 overall, 6-0 in the area, 15-0 at home. They were area champs for the first time since 2010. Elite Eight, the first time since 1989. I remember 1989 now. They were went to the Final Four, first time in school history. So we are so proud of them, and we're going to invite the girls volleyball team to actually be recognized at our December council meeting. So we're very proud. And then also this last board meeting, they recognized the Teachers of the Year. And so just today they announced that the Secondary Teacher of the Year is George Logan from Trussville High School. He is the electrical instructor, so he will go on to state to compete there. And then Lauren Blake is from Magnolia, is a counselor there. She is the elementary school teacher of the year and will compete at state. And other teachers that we had from the other buildings, Cheryl Enoch was the Payne teacher of the year. Heather Cagle was the HTMX middle school teacher of the year, and Sabrina Johnson was the Cahaba Elementary School teacher of the year. So congrats to all. And then also the state report card came back, and I am proud to announce that our schools, Trussville City Schools, only one of a handful of schools that got straight A's across the board, across every single school, and they have done it now 3 years in a row. Like system-wide, they went from a 95 to a 96. Hewitt Trussville High School went from a 93 to a 96, and our elementary schools are just about the best in the state, getting 98, 99, and 99 for our 3 elementary schools. So congratulations. Thank you, Dr. Ward, for your work on that, and thanks to Dr. Martin. I think he's done a fantastic job, and this really reflects it. So we're really obviously proud of our schools. Next up, Leadership Trussville. Leadership Trussville Class 4, that is in full swing. They're halfway through the year. They visited the Trussville Police Department and the Fire Department last Thursday on Public Safety Day. They had lots of interaction with leaders in both departments, and the objective of Public Safety Day is to highlight the dedication and preparedness of our first responders. So we thank you for that, right? Your rigorous training, you protect the community, and I know that was one of my favorite days in Leadership Trussville, so I'm glad they got to see that. Next month is going to be Government Day, which is Thursday, December 11th, and I mention that because all of you should have gotten an invite from Dr. Bradford to be part of Government Day. You are now the government. So, but it will be all government at all levels, municipal to county to state and federal. So it will be at 8:45 the morning of December 11th here, and you're welcome to arrive a little early at 7:45 to join for breakfast. So thanks to Leadership Trussville for doing such a great job. We have not had a finance meeting. I am in between meetings on cemetery beautification, so I will turn it over to the mayor for administration.
Thank you, Council President. I'll tell you, Buddy Choate did not tell me how busy I was going to be. So there's a lot going on, but out of respect for time, I'm just going to cover a few things. All right, southbound lanes on I-59 will be open as of tomorrow. Northbound will not start until the second week of January. So the holidays will be clear. Those will be open up for the holidays, and fingers crossed that'll go smoothly tomorrow. Let's see. I mentioned, and I think a lot of us campaigned on this, but I had a mayor's luncheon, and I spoke with some representatives from the Regional Planning Commission. We will be starting that process, and I'll be bringing the council a proposal, hopefully to expend some funds as we work toward creating a new comprehensive master plan. The last one was created by Gene Melton and Lynn Porter in 2004, published in 2006. So it's time for us to update that, and so I'll be bringing that proposal to you in December. And then they'll have representatives come chat with you as well. Maybe January, just depending on how it all plays out, but that'll be coming your way. And with that, I will end my report unless there's questions.
Mayor Short, you bring up Chuck Bradford.
I was trying not to because he kept when they mentioned David's retirement, he referenced that. But Chuck is also retiring. Again, I don't think this is the end of his story. I think it's just going to be a new chapter. But congratulations, Chuck, on your. Chuck has been here so long. He was actually my high school SRO. So just sad at how old Chuck is of it. But thank you, Council Horton, and that'll conclude my report.
Thank you, Mayor. And now we will go back to the audience. Would anyone like to speak? You'd have 2 minutes. Yes, if you'll just come to the podium and state your name and your address.
Come on, Kathy.
I'm Kathy Prince, and I live at 109 Magnolia Street. And this is not anything formal, but just because I represent Arts Trussville, and we don't have a liaison. But I do want to recognize Councilman Miller for really taking an interest in us and asking questions about what we need and to move forward, and just thank you for that. We are going to have an art show and art auction. It will be in February. It will be February 8th. It involves the public library, who has a liaison, and it involves the Chamber of Commerce, and they have a liaison. And we are going to promote it via the Chamber of Commerce and the Rotary Club, and these organizations will be dispersing online links to about 20 pieces of art. The art is from across the state. Many of them are artists who exhibit in great places like Bluff Park, Mountain Brook, who've won Best in Show, award-winning artists. The art will be auctioned, and the money will come back to our organization for our future art show. First Baptist Church is participating with us in doing a string ensemble performance at the library during that auction event. So we want to invite everyone in the government and everyone in the whole city to come out and support what we're doing, because we're trying to grow the arts. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
I'm Judy King, 302 Hewitt Street. My property borders the Baptist Church property, and I was just interested in this surplus property that will be turned over to the Baptist church.
Sure, let me show
What
you.
else is going on over there?
So it's right here. So this is the piece of property we're talking about. And basically, the city doesn't want to continue the maintenance. So the First Baptist Church has agreed to take this on. They're going to put some landscaping there, and they'll mow and maintain that. That's what this item is about, just this section right here.
Thank you. It
Yeah.
involves nothing.
Nothing on this side, no ma'am. Yeah, no, it's just this right here. And you'll see another one about the Methodist Church here in the next month or two. That'll be this strip right here.
Thank you.
It just keeps our guys from having to mow it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. Anyone else? Okay, great, so, I'm sorry, Mr. Epstein. I can't believe I didn't do it automatically.
I want to get home. I just want to wish y'all well, the young ladies and the older gentlemen. And I want to thank y'all, Mr. Ferguson, for eyeing the striping that y'all did at Walmart and Sam's. So now you can get your extra revenue to get back in the ring.
It only took me 5 years, Mr. Epstein, but I got it done in the first 2 weeks, thanks to Justin.
That's outstanding. Thank you, Mr. Epstein. Anyone else? Okay, great. So I'll let you know that the council, we are going to go into executive session, but we will not return. So I will entertain a motion to move into executive session for.
Madam President, before we do.
Yes.
I'd like to take a point of privilege and just, take a moment of silence. I lost my mama this, Sunday. She was a great lady, taught me a lot of things. And I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it weren't for her. So just wanted to take a moment of silence for her. Thank you. I also wanted to say what an honor it is to be sitting. I didn't know I was going to be sitting here in this seat, but what an honor it is to be sitting in former Councilman Perry's seat. I'll try to do it in honor, former Councilman.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. And we extend our deepest condolences for the loss of your mother. We are so sorry to hear that, and thank you for being with us tonight in light of that. So we really appreciate it. And now I will entertain a motion to move into executive session.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss a prospective trade and commerce matter.
Do you have a second?
In a second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor?